All right, so this situation went really south really quick. Um, Little backstory. Uh, I bought this guitar for an ex, uh, shoot, 2014, 2015, I think. And she learned a couple of chords and just lost interest in it. So I kind of inherited it back. Uh, Not gonna lie, this is probably one of my favorite guitars. I mean, I have my old acoustic. That's actually like my first electric or first acoustic guitar I've ever had. And I still have it, still play it. You guys see me play it all the time in my videos. This one here, I very rarely play it. It just kind of stays in the case all the time, but it sounds phenomenal. It really has a way better sound than my other acoustic guitar. It's up there with like that 12 string I used to have. I wish I still had. Anyway, this thing sits in the closet most of the time. Periodically, I break it out, clean it up, and I'll play it. One of the last times, I actually put new strings on, but I wanted to try something new with the strings. Let me grab one. Um, so these strings, it's hard to see in this, but it has a coating, like almost like a vinyl coating on the string itself. It's hard to see it where it starts. I can just grab it with my nail there, but you see where it starts right about where my nail is, and everything from then on has got like this weird coating on it. Um, the problem is like after you strum on it a bunch of times, that coating starts to flake off and it just gets the guitar filthy. I just don't like it. I'm gonna go back with just some standard strings. Anyway, um, this morning I took the guitar out. I had busted one of the strings on it, but for shits and giggles, I was actually getting ready to order some new strings for it. Um, I went to tune it, and of course took the knob off so I can get this off. Um, the tuner is this little guy. It just cycles through, and then normally when you strum a string, um, you'll see this will indicate what note it is, but this will indicate whether you're sharp or flat. And then these are your little, I'm going to call them equalizers. You know, it's a preamp from I think called Fishman. Um, and then this is an Ibanez. Let's see, it's an AEL20E, which I believe is a discontinued model. So it's kind of hard for me to look up uh, the replacement parts for this thing. But from watching some other videos, I've seen the same thing happen. For one, when I first bought the guitar, this faceplate was real gummy. It was just nasty, sticky, and I tried cleaning it up. Once it was kind of cleaned up, everything was fine until this morning. I went to press down to start the tuner, and the whole box had actually broken away from the faceplate. It's, because this sits down inside the guitar, sits up behind here. See if I can fish my fat knuckles up in here. Of course not. But anyway, you get the idea. I think she'll sit in there kind of like this, and the faceplate screws onto the top, and that's what holds this whole assembly in place. But since these little bosses on all four screws broke off, this whole unit just fell down inside the guitar. So I start looking for a replacement faceplate, and sure as shit, I don't think they make them anymore. The few, I think I've seen like 3 places. I saw one on eBay, I saw one on Amazon, and there's another guitar shop that was selling them, but all of them are out of stock, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a safe bet that they're discontinued. They're probably not gonna make them anymore. So I'm gonna have to replace this entire unit with a different preamp. The problem, so here's problem number 2 is all the preamps that I'm seeing are on this side, this face, and not this face. So it's going to be hard to find a preamp that matches this contour. Well, let me back up. I'd like to just use this existing hole. Worst case scenario, I can open this hole up a little bit to adapt a new preamp, but all the preamps that I'm seeing are designed for this side, so that curvature is not going to match, and I'm worried. One, I'm worried that it's going to stand up away from the face of this guitar here. And now I'm going to be entirely honest with you. Like, I don't know fuck all about these pickups and preamps for electric or acoustic guitars. But all I do know right now is it's got a pickup, a piezo pickup under the bridge here. So this should pop right out if I can get my fat hands up in there. And then it's also tied into a battery tray. So this pops right out. You got your batteries, and then you've got your outputs. Sorry. I'm hoping I can keep this, maybe wire in the new preamp into this, or I'm sure when you buy the new preamp, probably comes with this as well, from what I've seen. I'm just hoping that the whole size would be the same. It would just be kind of a direct replacement for that. But right now, it's gonna be hard to find the preamp that'll fit this. Once this is fixed, of course, it's probably going to come with a new pickup. And then there's some debate as to the piezo versus some of these preamps have like an actual microphone that you can plug in. It sits inside the guitar. And I've also seen the pickups that span across the hole here. I'll have to do some homework and figure out what kind of route we're going to go with this. I mean, it's a phenomenal sounding guitar. It would be nice to also have the electrical bleep bloops to match the quality of the sound. You know, it wouldn't make any sense to just throw in some $20 hunk of junk when this thing could actually sound really nice with some decent pickups. Once that's all done, I can get the strings put back in. So that's the scenario. That's the situation that we're in. Oh, before I forget, I gotta glue this guy back on. This popped right off as soon as I started taking the strings off. That popped right off. I think I had the same issue with that guitar. When I first bought it, it was actually missing this whole piece. And old Harry at Musically Yours in Hollywood, Maryland, hooked a brother up. Got me new strings and hooked me up with some lessons. So anyway, that's where we're at. Alright, so first things first, go ahead and take off all your strings. And then I went ahead and removed the bridge. That'll expose the pickup down in there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these 4 screws out and prepare to remove the battery pack or battery tray, battery box, whatever you want to call it. And take these screws out. Just be real gentle, because these wires are still hooked up to the preamp. Now, I think we can just unplug. We'll just unplug this little guy. That'll free up this battery pack out of here. And then all we have to do is just pull out. We'll have to fish this pickup. Fish that through one of these holes. I think it's probably this one. And then we should be able to take that whole preamp unit out. Alright, so I got the battery tray out. Now I'm going to try to fish this piezo. So I got my hand in here. I can feel one end of it. Just try to push it back up through the hole. Maybe I can grab it with my fingernail here. No. Oh, I got it. And we can fish it back through this hole down here. Like so. And I'll grab it from the back side and pull it through. Now, should be able to weasel out that whole preamp. Like so. What are we plugged into? Oh, I forgot. There's a one of those little 3M zip tie. I'm just going to try to pull it off. Oh, it's coming. Perfect. One of these guys. It's just stuck to the inside. Keep your wires from rattling around in there. So there you go. There's the old preamp. The old Fishman and its crappy little faceplate. Anyway, so now we got the old. Now we got to do some shopping around and figure out what preamp. Now this thing just doesn't want to focus, does it? Figure out what kind of preamp we're going to put in this thing. So we are back to the acoustic electric project, and I have got a few preamps that I'm trying out for size. I set this guitar over here. So I got this one the other day, came in. However, two things. This box is a little too small for the existing hole. Of course, I'd have to sand these little nubs down so I can get it to fit all the way in there. But the overall, I believe like the overall length is just a little bit too long, where there's nothing for the screws to grab into. And I think it would still have a little bit of the hole showing. So I'm gonna probably have to pass on this one. Also, I'm pretty sure the battery and the 1/4-inch jack for this. I'll show you. See, I don't even know if it'll fit in the existing hole, but you'll see immediately the problem. Oh, look at that. But let's see. You know what? This might have been. Oh, this was the original one. Duh. So the original one, boop, fits right in. It's this one. This is the battery pack that came with the other one. It's got the curvature is on the wrong plane. So it would, the curvature probably be alright like this, but one, I don't want to cut another hole in the guitar. You see the plane, or the curvature here is 90 degrees off. Okay, so moving on to option number 2. Got this little guy. I like the controls are very smooth. It's got a built-in tuner, and this one also came with its own battery pack and 1/4 inch. This one will fit. I mean, it's the curvature is in the right plane, and with a little bit of sanding, it'll slide right in there. I could use this one. However, let me set the guitar in my lap here so you guys can get a better view. If I were to put this guy here, you know, open up this hole a little bit, you can see the curvature on this box does not match, obviously, the curvature on the guitar. And I thought maybe even if I tried it this way, it's still, it's still not gonna work. Basically, this module would stick way up over the guitar. It's really meant for like this side. You know, I can mount it like right in here, and this curvature matches pretty damn close. But I really don't want to go cutting another hole in the guitar, and it still doesn't fix the original problem, which I'm trying to fill this hole. So that brings me to this little devil, which is, before I dissected it, what I was trying to do was get this plate off so I can try to figure out. I think we have a candidate here. This Fishman, or I think it's a Fishman knockoff. I think it's, and I've been warned against not using these because I've heard that they don't work. They're cheap Chinese garbage, but at this point I'm just trying to get the guitar back into like one piece. And honestly, I don't use the preamp. Like, I've never plugged this guitar into an amp. I really don't have any intention to. Like, it sounds perfect just as a regular acoustic guitar. I just want to fill that hole up. And so what I need to do, I had to take this apart so I could get this bezel off. And now all I have to do is just kind of line it up, and it just barely covers up that hole. I just gotta widen it a little bit. So another thing with this pickup, or not, here's the pickup here, fits under the saddle, which will fit right in where the existing one used to be. It's got just, it doesn't have a battery pack. Well, it does have a battery pack. There's your batteries. But for the other hole where the battery pack used to be, all it has is a 1/4-inch jack. So what I'm thinking about doing is taking the original battery pack output jacks. I'm gonna have to remove this PC board and the 1/4-inch jack. Take that little nut off, and that should pop right out, and then in its place fit that guy in there. That way this will fill that hole, but I can still use a 1/4-inch jack if I ever decide to plug this in to an amp, and I can fill the preamp hole with this cheapy little Fishman. I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. All right, so I've gone through, just determined that I didn't have to really widen this length. Maybe just a little touch on these little tabs, but it should be fine. The biggest fitment issue was the height here to get this module in there. So I've actually decided not to use this. I mean, we're gonna use it to fill the hole, and as you see, I got the fitment just about right. Now it doesn't really contour perfectly to the guitar, but once we throw in the little screws that hold that little guy in, and I gotta put the knob back on. Once I throw the screws in, it'll suck it down to the surface of the guitar. Worst case scenario, I could leave it in there. If I ever need, to use this, everything is there. I'm just gonna tape up the pickup, and I'll hang on to the 1/4-inch jack. I can always plug that in some other time if I ever need to use this thing. But I've heard that this thing is pretty cheap and like garbage. I know this one's a fake, so I just want it just to fill this hole in here, and then what am I stuck on? But anyway, just about got that button back up. But here's what we're gonna do. I'd like to actually use this guy. And as you saw, it fits. It's really designed to go up here. So what I'm gonna do is mark out where I'm gonna make the cuts, and then this little guy actually has its own pickup right here, and all the hardware I need to install this unit. And I believe I've got to figure out what I did with it. That's the old one. It's got its own battery pack somewhere. Oh, I stuck it back in. I already got the battery pack fit in there. I just got to throw the screws in it and plug it into this unit. That way I'll have like a fully functional preamp and tuner, and we'll have this one as a backup if I ever need it. Alright, so to get this unit installed, I had to lay out some masking tape. find the center of the guitar, and surprisingly this is narrower than, in the middle of the body here. But you just find your center points, and then I had to measure the width of this unit, which was just a hair over 2 inches. So I use that as like a guide. That'll get my width, and the length. The length was a little tricky because I want this unit to sit as flush to the surface of the guitar. So that's what I did, was I just used the tape as the edge for locating where I'm gonna plot my hole here. So now I'm going to go through with a file and just clean this up, and being real careful not to get too far into these corners here, because that's where the mounting screws are going to go through. Alright, so I got my hole cut out, and I've had my module fitted in here. Boom. Money. Now what we'll do, pop this little guy out, take the tape off, just kind of dress up the hole a little bit, and then we can start final mount this guy, and then I can wire up the output jack, and I gotta install the pickup in the saddle here. I'll go ahead and actually got it right here. So give me a second to open this bag, and I'll get the pickup out of here. Right, so now got my pickup. I believe I can maybe fish one end down through one of these holes. Might have to open the hole up a little bit. Go in your hole. That's what I was worried about. I was worried that the pickup. Let me try to center this pickup a little bit better. As you can see, as it is, it's way over this way. I'm going to try to pull that back out and center that up. I like that. That's better. And we just gotta get this pickup all the way down in there, and then I gotta put the saddle back on. All right. I went ahead, kind of conditioned up the fretboard with a little bit of lemon oil, and polished the whole thing with a little bit of this instrument polish, and it's looking brand new. And now last step is going to be new set of strings, and this is actually a 3-pack, so when I'm finished this one, I might restring my other acoustic guitar, because that thing needs some love too. Alright, I think we're fixed. I got this cheapy little Fishman knockoff to fill in that giant hole here. I went ahead, since I bought multiple preamps, we'll give this one a try. And then I've already got it wired into the pickup in the saddle, and I've actually got it wired into the outputs. So now I'm gonna take the time to go ahead, clean the fretboard, put some lemon oil on the fretboard, kind of condition it so it doesn't dry out. I'll polish it, and I've got a fresh set of strings I'm going to put on. And while I'm thinking about it, I need to address that nut. I think it just needs a little bit of glue. So go ahead and take care of that. Get this baby back on the road. It does sound really nice, but I've noticed I think the action is sitting up higher than it originally was. It just seems like it takes more pressure to engage the fret. But I mean, it still has a rich sound. I'll keep messing with it. I think it's still slightly out of tune, and I gotta trim the snakes out of here. But it's all back together. Got the new preamps, even though I'm only going to use this one. I'll have this as a backup just in case. But I got a feeling, from what I've been told, this one here is kind of cheapy, has a tendency to fail, but I needed it to fill in the hole that was right here. It's not currently hooked up to anything, it's just sitting there for aesthetics. This one here, on the other hand, this is actually hooked into a pickup under the saddle, and is hooked up to the outputs here. So I can actually still use this battery pack and both of these outputs. That was it. That was an interesting little project. Got the nut glued back on there, and I had to kind of modify the saddle a little bit. With the new pickup was a little bit thicker, so when it sat down in there, this saddle sat up higher. So took a little bit of sanding down, and took some time with that one. But overall, I'm happy with it. Now it's time to move on to the next project.